better than I do. So, oh,
I figured I'd just catch all.
oh, cool, cool. Hey, everybody!
Just talking about Glenn Powell.
Because you're back at the spot you meant to be. Was the podcast? It's exclusively for people who believe Billy is the extreme. We are your hosts as always. I'm Nick.
And I'm AndrewLZ. I didn't know we were actually. I thought we were just going to banter a little bit more.
I still want to banter. So.
Yeah, I mean, we were
talking about how attractive Glenn Powell is.
Yeah, I'm struggling to submit a headshot for just an audition for a Phoenix theater company. And Nick's suggestion was just send them an image of Glenn Powell. They'll never know the difference.
Yep.
To which we then began going at length at how good looking Glenn Powell is, and I was like,
he's a good looking dude.
I don't think any maybe if I find like a mid-blink Getty image picture of him, and I was like, no, that probably actually make him look better.
Yeah, it's a good looking dick, Peter.
You know what kind of foods are shaped like dicks? The best kind.
The best kind. Oh, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you? I've missed you.
I missed you as well. We took a week off again.
Yeah.
I could honestly say that work has been the worst it has ever been in my life for the last
I'm so sorry.
6 months. It's okay. It's okay. We're getting through it. We're going to get through it. The sun is going to be shining more often and for longer coming up soon. So, the seasonal depression will be gone.
Yay.
Hopefully.
Well, I mean, you're in Missouri and it's only March. So no. Which is fine. But Nick, did you get a chance to go see Dune 2?
I unfortunately did not. I bought my ticket and then was at work until 5:30 yesterday and completely missed my
showtime.
So
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It was only a $5 ticket, so not a big deal. But I do want to see it very badly.
I mean, I saw it, and I mean, we know my feelings on Dune. I'm not like crazy about it, and and we know why, because like it's two subject matters that just have never interested me: God and kings.
Yeah, and Timothée Chalamet.
Actually, dude, he was in like one of my favorite movies last year.
He was in Wonka, which was in your top 10 from 2023, which is coming to Max
tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
By the time this drops,
by the time this drops, yeah. So,
but you know what did drop on Hulu and Disney Plus today?
What, Drew?
Poor Things, the movie about sex and knowledge and freedom.
Is it okay if I watch it on Disney Plus? Like, is that acceptable?
Well, I mean, I would watch it on Disney Plus just because you're not going to get the commercials.
Sure.
But if you watch it on Hulu, I mean, that's a little bit more appropriate. But you're going to get like the random 2 commercials. This is a movie about sex, and
I mean, I do get a lot of commercials on Hulu about bent carrots. So I don't know if anybody else gets those, but just talking about dudes' dongs being bent and
really.
So I guess technically if I get more of those commercials during Poor Things, it will make sense.
I mean...
Also, is the TV trying to tell me something?
I think so. I mean, well, you are in your like midlife crisis. I mean, you're not in your midlife, but you're... I
am amidst it.
So, I mean, it might have just know your age and just be like, yeah. I mean... It's time.
This guy needs boner pills. Is what Hulu thinks.
Yeah. Me, I just get targeted Spanish ads for Ford.
Okay, so since we've been doing this podcast over 2 years now, plus maybe, I have been getting nothing but like Spanish language ads on my YouTube.
I've always gotten Spanish language ads, man. It's just because of my last name.
Yep.
I've complained to Hulu. They've actually responded back to me before, and they're like,
sorry, man.
You guys, like, come on.
Excuse me. Sorry, amigo. Lo siento, amigo.
Thank you. It's like one of the only Spanish phrases I actually really know because it's the one I had to be most familiar with.
Yeah.
No, I know I look like I speak the language. I'm sorry, but I do not.
Do
Lo
not.
siento.
Yes,
And then I give them the ASL thank you. Uh,
of course.
they go
Um,
hand in hand.
yeah. Uh, did you watch anything fun these last couple weeks?
Yes. Okay. I had okay on Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the most streamed show over the year so far, though. Is Ted
Yes.
holds up? Holy
So
crap!
funny. It
I
is
mean,
so incredibly funny.
it. I think it's the best of what like Family Guy is because it is live action, so they have the restraints of being live action, so they only give you the better jokes. The show takes it pretty far, but it's
Mm,
actually it does a good job of
yeah.
like the mom is my favorite character in the show. I mean, but she's also the crazy waitress from Waiting.
Yeah, Alana Ubach, I
I
believe is how
love
you
I
spell.
love
She's so
her.
good.
I love her so
So
much.
hilarious. I love Scott Grimes.
Yes, I've always loved Scott
I've
Grimes.
always been a Scott Grimes fan. But him as the father
Is perfect.
is absolutely perfect. He's actually really good friends with Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah,
He's in a lot of Seth's projects.
yeah.
But he is
He's
absolutely
fantastic.
brilliant.
The girl, I think her name is or her real name is Georgia something, but
Wiggum, I believe.
yeah, yeah,
Like Chief Wiggum,
like Shay.
basically.
I was thinking Shay Wiggum,
Yeah,
Sean Wiggum or
yeah. I
whatever
know
his
who you're
name
talking
is.
about.
Um, I love her. I think she's really funny in the show. The entire show is actually just really really good. Like love Scott Grimes. Probably a terrible husband. He's had like 4 wives.
Yes, that would be factual. Yeah,
I,
probably just
I think
terrible.
that's just fair to say. I think he's probably a good guy. Probably just a horrible husband.
Yeah. Uh, I like that Ian McKellen is the
Yes.
narrator. Uh,
And
so
then, well, I mean, which is a bit surprising because normally it's Patrick Stewart because Patrick Stewart
yes,
is good friends with Seth, but
yes.
for some reason he got Ian McKellen this time. Um,
So Patrick Stewart was probably still trying to climb that mountain from the Super Bowl ad.
oh my god, that was the fun, like throw the child
Throw the child.
as his play call sheet was perfect. Oh man, that was the best commercial
Yeah,
during the Super Bowl.
during the entire night. Yeah,
There and Creed's here.
and Creed's
Uh,
here.
we need some pigskin. Got it. Uh,
Oh yeah, and we got Thomas Lennon in that
as
commercial
Dangle.
as well as Dangle.
Uh, yeah, fantastic. And then also, man, the first 3 episodes so far have been fantastic.
Of
Shogun.
Shogun. So okay, so this is on my list of what I've watched as well. Um, I don't know if I've seen a
More brutal
more
death.
yeah, more cinematic television show that was not on HBO
Yeah,
in the last decade.
it's shot beautifully.
Yeah.
In BC, Canada.
Yes.
So they just have this late 1500s Japan village, Japanese village in BC, Canada. Fantastic. Love it.
I love you, Canada.
And how you just fit in as everything. Um,
Vancouver's like 45 different places.
yeah.
Yeah.
But no, tell me about Shogun.
Dude, I don't know if I can express how thrilled I am to see this like weekly. The subject matter's cool. Like I am very interested in this kind of feudal Japan historical fiction
Yeah.
that's being told. The acting is just phenomenal. Period.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing about it is just the way it's shot.
Yeah.
Like it is cinematically gorgeous.
And I think it's kind of constantly like kind of moving too. It has like a
Yes.
really good flow to it, and like and also I mean the setting itself, like the buildings that
Yeah.
the Japanese lived in at the time,
Mhm.
just also shoots just very well because
Yeah.
it lights really well, either in
Aesthetically beautiful.
yeah, in daylight or under like
Mhm.
firelight.
Yeah.
It shoots really well, so I think that's the advantage there. But I
E-
mean, regardless, it's an absolutely beautiful show to watch.
even the moments when it slows down, like there's a tension there. It like
Yeah,
you're you're always kind of leaning forward in your seat watching it.
and
Um
okay,
which is brilliant.
yeah.
Like that's what you want from that type of show.
It always shocks me. I mean, getting into the actual show, it shocks me that Portugal, this that small nation off of the corner of Spain, was so powerful at one point that
It's the Navy, man.
they controlled like half of the globe at one, or like the known globe at one point.
It's the Navy, man.
Yeah, but it still surprised me that Portugal.
Whoever had the Navy ruled the world.
Yeah, um, but yeah, it at the I want to say the beginning of the second episode, whenever the Englishman
Mhm.
is being interrogated by the leader, I can't remember his name, uh, and that's when he tells him that Portugal considers Japan its territory,
Mhm.
and he's like, "I want you to come back and map it later." He said, "I'll be more than happy to do that now."
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like happily, just ready to expose this entire nation's dark plot,
Mhm.
is fantastic. And the show itself, just them having to deal with that being the conflict, has been
Oh yeah.
fantastic. uh
The cast it's so well cast.
yeah, I
Uh
mean, it's got Hiroyuki Sanada, man. He's like,
Sonata, yeah.
yeah, he's one of the best.
And seeing Anasawa, is it Sawe? Is that how you say her name?
Ooh, I don't know. The girl from
From Monarch.
yeah, Monarch.
Yeah.
I do not know how. I
I
haven't
believe it's
listened to an interview.
Anasawa
I,
or Sawe.
I
She's
haven't listened
very
to.
I like her quite a
Yeah,
bit.
yeah,
She's great in Monarch. She's great in this.
yeah. The scene, I think in the most recent episode, in episode 3, I think when she loses her husband. Uh, man, it just obviously it was the culture and the time, but how how can you be so dedicated to someone that is not like actually somebody to you, that you give up your entire bloodline,
Hmm.
uh, and like the fact he could have survived,
Yeah.
he could have made it back to the ship, but it would have looked poorly, and that just
Hmm.
I understand it's the culture, it's the time, but it does not stop me from being upset.
Yeah. I also did not realize this was a remake of a 1980s miniseries.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah, from the same title, Shogun, about you know an English navigator shipwrecked, rises to the level of Shogun. It's definitely interesting.
Yeah. And I like the guy who plays like Blackthorn or whatever his name is. I
Mhm.
can't think of his. I think he's good. He's not my. He's obviously going to be the easiest person to deal with on the
Yeah,
show, just because you don't have to be constantly watching, which you should be,
you
but you
should be.
don't have to
Yes.
be
Yeah.
whenever he's talking.
Cosmo Jarvis is who you're
Yeah.
speaking of.
Oh, he has the Saoirse Ronan special. Do you know what that means?
Mm-mm.
Born in America, but raised in the UK. So
Oh.
getting over to the US, super easy. That's the same thing with Saoirse Ronan. She's like born
Gotcha.
in Queens, I believe, and raised in Ireland. So, and did you see anything else?
Yeah, I actually watched quite a bit over these last couple weeks. Continued my New Girl rewatch because, God, that show is amazing. Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2 were both on the TV over the last 2 weeks. My God, those movies were fueled by cocaine.
Yes.
Thank you, Don Simpson. Watch Top Gun Maverick again
Thank you,
because
Lauren Michaels.
Yeah, who doesn't need a little bit of uh, just propaganda in their life?
Oh yeah.
Very well done propaganda. Uh, I watched the documentary that Judd Apatow did on Gary Shandling,
Oh, I still need to
uh,
watch that.
and then
I was never interested in Gary Shandling, so I
gotcha.
never knew why people like are obsessed with him. And like he's so many people's hero. I just don't know.
Um, watching that documentary led me to starting a rewatch on the Larry Sanders Show. It's 90 episodes, 6 seasons. Yeah, 6 seasons. It is streaming on Max, and it, way ahead of its time. That show, without Larry Sanders, the Larry Sanders Show, we don't get the Office. We don't get Abbott Elementary. We don't get Modern Family. Like these modern
Would Ricky
titans.
Gervais say that?
Yes.
Okay, I was
Yes.
just wondering.
So
He's very protective of The Office.
Yes, he is. But I've also been really enjoying the Halo show on Paramount Plus. I don't understand the hatred towards it. Like bunch of incels who miss LAN parties, I guess. But it's telling its own story. Like video games are really difficult to make into hour snippets or 50-minute snippets on a streaming service, especially when you're talking about 8-9 games worth of information that you're distilling down into 9 episodes a season. It would be like
on Paramount, so it's not exactly the biggest TV budget.
Yeah, but it is a Steven Spielberg produced vehicle. So the visuals are very good. It's acted well. It's got some well-known folks in it. It's worth a watch for sure.
Yeah.
But that was my couple weeks of TV and movie viewing.
A couple things I watched. Rory Scovel has a new special on HBO Max. It's fantastic.
I have got to watch that this weekend.
Oh my! Well, I will let you know. Like the first 20 minutes is just him berating the audience about God. Like just continue, like not berating, but he's just like it's a constant question about God for the first 20 minutes.
But
it felt like me talking for a little bit.
He didn't get taken off the stage like Nick Swartzen did.
He's been having a rough go, man. Yeah. I watched the Rory Scovel special. I watched Dan Soder's special. That one's on YouTube.
Dan Soder is so underrated.
There's a new teaser for Alex Edelman's new special on HBO Max that just got released today. I'm very excited for that one. I'm a big fan of Alex. Birbiglia has a new special coming out, which I'm excited to see. And then there's a documentary coming later this month on Apple TV Plus. It's a 2-parter about Steve Martin, and I'm very excited about that.
I need a new Kyle Kinane special in my life.
Did you watch? Well, actually, it just came out.
Did it really?
It just released. You can purchase it. It's on his website. It's called Dirt Nap. I'm a big fan of, like, he's
Support
one of my
comics.
He's one of my favorite comedians of all time. I think he's one of the best comedians of all time. I don't think he would say that, but I would definitely will.
His style of storytelling is just
it's unparalleled. It's by himself.
It's a 101.
But what I did go see Dune 2, which visually I still gave it a 9 out of 10, even though I don't care about the movie that much, because it's still very beautiful to look at. It's still very, like, the sound design is like score, everything is perfect.
I mean, that's Dennis Villanueva. I mean, that's just
so I can't market, like, the only thing that I can market is just I don't care about the story.
I get it.
But that same day I watched Dune earlier in the day, which also I watched like a month ago for the first time. Didn't care for it. Watched it again. It's still beautiful. Still don't care for it.
I get it. I don't get it, but I get it.
But then right after that, before I was going to go see Dune 2, because I was like, we might be able to record. That's why we didn't record last week, because I went and saw Dune 2 and I got an earlier screening that I meant to. But I watched a movie from 1977. Man, I've just been watching Japanese shit.
Mhm.
It's a movie that's on the Criterion Collection. It's on HBO Max right now.
Okay.
And I only got introduced to it because of Bill Hader's Criterion Closet thing.
Oh, I love it.
Uh, he pulled up this movie called House,
Mhm.
and and it just has this image of like this kind of screaming orange cat as the cover.
Mhm.
And I've seen that image before. I didn't know what it was for. And then he mentioned it. He was like, it's this Japanese like fever dream, like horror movie. And I was just like, I have 90 minutes to kill. I'm going to pull this up. Nick, this is the best way for me to describe it for you. And I
Okay.
hope this entices you to eventually watch it. It's incredibly weird. It's as if a cannibal dosed seven not grade school, but like high school girls at a
Okay.
house with a pool. That is the best way to describe it. A cannibal
Okay.
dosed seven school girls at a house with a pool.
Man, Japan's so cool.
This is not the thing. Okay, the movie's so weird, but I gotta give it, like, I don't know if it was intentionally just, it's not, I'm not kidding. It's almost genius the way it's edited. It like I don't know how to describe that, but it's like it's so also one of one. Like nothing compares to the editing, especially in the first 15 minutes of this movie.
Mhm.
I saw things I've never seen done before or since. And okay, it's a movie. Oh, here, let me pull up the characters' names. Let me see if I can remember them. There's seven girls. There's
Okay.
Gorgeous. There's Sweet. There's Kung Fu, my favorite. Uh, there's oh crap, I lost them. Uh, they're fantastic. No, where are you?
Gorgeous, Kung Fu, Prof,
Prof.
Fantasy, Mac, Sweet, Melody, and Auntie.
Yeah, Prof is my second favorite, but not kidding. Whenever Kung Fu, they're all kind of very much their names. When like whenever Kung Fu does stuff in the movie, the editing completely changes, and it's like, and sometimes the entire perspective of the movie changes.
Mhm.
It's it's literally brilliant. Like I don't know how else to describe it. Like there's nothing else that it gets, like I said, it gets weird, but it's the best movie I've watched since Poor Things.
Wow. That's high praise.
But it's fantastic. I strongly
And you said
urge.
it's on Mac now?
Yeah, it's on Max right now. So it's incredible. Like, man,
I
it's
mean, it's
so,
88 minutes. I'll
yeah,
I'll watch it.
yeah. I mean, and they all the girls have like their moments, except for I want to say Mac. Mac doesn't really have her moment, but man, Kung Fu and Prof are fantastic. Gorgeous is the main girl, and
Mhm.
she's the main reason why you're going through the story, and she's like, it's fantastic.
I will
I
definitely check it out.
It's a movie I wish I could watch for the first time again, and I just watched it on last Thursday.
That's definitely high praise. That's what we said about Barbarian.
Yes. Well, I mean, that one always benefits just from the first watch.
Yeah.
But and then okay, before we get into 96, where we finish our list, Nick, do you plan on watching the Oscars this week?
I do plan on it.
They're this Sunday.
I
Uh
know.
what who do you have for what do you think is gonna win Best Picture? I mean,
I think it has to be Oppenheimer.
I think if the voters are watching the movies, I think Poor Things should win.
Well, again, I have not seen
You have your
Poor
opportunities.
Things yet. I think, unfortunately, Best Picture is going to come down to probably Oppenheimer versus Killers of the Flower Moon. I was not a huge fan of Killers of the Flower Moon. I think the performances were good. I'm kind of over Martin Scorsese's storytelling. That's just me. I think Jeffrey Wright probably takes Best Actor. Um,
Oh, that's going to Killian.
I want it to go to Cillian Murphy, but I think Jeffrey Wright deserves it. I think American Fiction is fantastic.
I loved American Fiction. But the thing is, he's not my favorite character in the movie. Sterling K. Brown, I think, is my favorite
Sure.
character in the movie. And then
Sure.
she had such little screen time, and I was so intimidated by her for
Mm.
the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
But Tracy Ellis Ross has
Yeah.
I wish she was in the movie more,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously she can't be. But she was like in that limited screen time, she was fantastic. But Sterling K. Brown was the best part of that movie. I love Jeffrey Wright. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
I love Jeffrey Wright. But I think, yeah.
I think Nolan takes it for Oppenheimer for director. I think Lily Gladstone is a shoo-in for your Best Actress. Best Supporting Actor is probably Downey Jr.
Yes.
Man, I hope America Ferrera gets Best Supporting Actress, but I just don't think she will. But I'm hoping she does, and I'm going to stick with that.
You know what? One category I am not confident with.
Which one?
Visual effects.
Oh man.
I think the most would be Guardians 3. I think the creator, I think, is probably the best in my opinion.
The creator is beautiful, and it should win. I would love to see -1 take the Oscar for best visual effects.
I think that's the feel good story.
I think that's the feel good story.
I think that's what people are wanting. So I think that's what it's going to be. Best sound is probably Oppenheimer, if I'm being completely honest.
I think it's absolutely insane that best makeup and hairstyling doesn't have Barbie in the category. I just like to state that for the record. Best costume design should probably go to Barbie just to make up for that stupidity.
Thing is, I think if you go costume design, most voters for the Oscars like period pieces.
So it could be Napoleon or Killers.
I think it's going to be Napoleon because honestly, those departments end up being so huge that I don't blame them. But I would actually probably say Poor Things in this case. If you actually see some of the pieces that Emma Stone wears in the movie, it's like everybody else is kind of like original, like the pretty sane, but the pieces that Emma Stone wears in Poor Things are incredible. I think that they're going to be the showstoppers that take the cake.
So I know that we are both big Miyazaki fans, but we're both on board with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse winning Best Animated Feature, right?
The thing is, it's going to be hard because this year, I mean, you have Pixar still. Even though it was Elemental, Pixar still wins Best Animated. I would say Boy and the Heron is going to win.
Okay. We will differ on that because I think Across the Spider-Verse not only deserves it, but I think they're just due.
Yeah, I mean, I think they won Into the Spider-Verse, so
yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be difficult. I think Danielle Brooks, or actually no, Divine Joy Randolph is probably a shoo-in for the Best Supporting Actress. I think Best Supporting Actor is going to be Robert De Niro. I think Best Actress is going to be Emma Stone. I think the Best Actor is going to be Cillian Murphy.
So wait, you don't think Downey Jr. is going to get?
Who did I say?
You said De Niro.
Oh yeah, sorry, not De Niro. Robert Downey Jr. is going to win Best Supporting. I wish it was Ruffalo. I really do. After, oh no, the Dragon Ball creator just died.
What? Akira Toriyama just died?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Age of 68.
Well, that sucks.
I wasn't sure you knew his name, so.
Oh, dude, I'm old school loving some Dragon Ball.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
and then
you.
I think Best Picture is going to be Poor Things. I think Best Director is going to be uh, uh, Chris Chris Nolan, and cinematographer is going to be Rodrigo Prieto for Killers of the Flower Moon. I think that movie is shot really beautifully. I think production design should go to Poor Things because if you watch the movie and you look at the world that it's in, especially whenever they go to I want to say France. Holy crap! It's
Oh, I think production design has to go to Oppenheimer.
See, the thing is,
Although I have not seen Napoleon.
I
I
don't,
mean,
I don't think, I think Oppenheimer's a little too bare. So
I think it just it shows that wrinkle in time
it does, but
very well.
I don't, I don't think that strikes the voters. If I'm being completely honest,
I get it. We're going to have some disagreements on this. I am intrigued. You usually have a pretty stellar track record, so
I know how they think.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll we'll talk about it some more next week, I'm sure.
I've been selecting Oscar winners since I was 14.
Yeah. I love that
Been part of my family.
Oppenheimer with 13 nominations, Poor Things just behind it with 11. So, I mean, they're gonna
And also hosted by Jimmy Kimmel, who honestly should be like one of the revolving hosts of the show because he's
absolutely
phenomenal.
he does an excellent job. So,
I'll not flower. Let's not give flowers because the Workaholics podcast, they started like whenever they started giving flowers, some of those people just started like so many people just started dying.
Yeah.
they're like, shout out to this guys, and then like let's give them flowers, and then they started dying. So I don't give flowers anymore.
All right. Well,
I can buy myself flowers.
Well, we will be watching the 96th Annual Academy Awards on Sunday. You should watch them as well. We will obviously talk more about the Oscars next week on the pod. Drew and I are going to get together and see how many overlaps we have, see who we disagree on, and again, we'll talk about it next week on the pod.
Yeah.
I suppose we should probably take a break before we start talking about 96.
All right. Nick, welcome back.
Sorry.
Hey, do you want to remind anybody who listens to this thing what your bottom 5 were of 1996?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Coming in at number 10, Space Jam. Number 9, The Frighteners, which I believe was Drew's 6. Number 8, 10 Cup. Number 7, Multiplicity. And number 6, That Thing You Do.
And my number 10 was Mars Attacks. Number 9 was D3, The Mighty Ducks. Number 8 was Fargo. Number 7 was ID4, Independence Day. And number 6 was The Frighteners, which is fantastic. I love the fact that you had Frighteners on there too. So
I'm a little upset that I didn't have Fargo on there because I got to thinking about it after we recorded 2 weeks ago, and I was like, damn, Fargo is a really good movie.
It's better than Tin Cup, I can assure you.
No, Tin Cup, again, I told you.
It's better than Space Jam.
I went very nostalgia-driven on this
Same
list.
Here.
All right. How about you start us off with your number 5 movie, sir?
Gladly. Nick, I know that the first time I saw this movie was with you. We all made the same mistake of not watching this movie with subtitles the first time. It was the Jeff apartment that you guys were at, and the movie is fantastic. I mean, it's good. I haven't watched it since like 5 years, but it's Trainspotting, starring Ewan McGregor and a bunch of other guys.
Yeah, definitely put the subtitles on during this movie.
Yeah, we made the mistake of not doing that the first time, but regardless, the movie was fantastic. There are some truly horrific parts of this movie whenever he's coming down, and that's not a great spot.
I mean, let's start this off by saying this is a movie about heroin addiction.
Yeah.
So enter at your own risk, sir.
You know what? I should rewatch this movie. I thought it was going to be like a 2-hour movie, which always feels a little daunting. It's only 90 minutes. I
No, it's only
should
90
just throw
minutes.
this back
90,
on.
93 minutes.
Yeah, I should
Yeah.
throw this just back on. It's not bad. I mean, it's got
Yeah.
dude. I
No.
mean, listen to the people who's in this. I mean, Ewan McGregor, Ewan Bremner sound like the same name. And Johnny Lee Miller. I love those three guys. I mean, obviously there's
Also
some
got
other
Robert
people. Oh,
Carlyle
Robert
in it as
Carlyle.
well.
Thank you. I forgot
Yeah.
about him.
And
And Kelly
Peter
McDonald.
Milan.
Yeah. Uh, but the movie's fantastic. It's directed by Danny Boyle. So what do you expect? But I mean, it's shot just really, really well for what it is. I mean, just with the Irish landscape, right? Are they in Ireland or no? I always think Ewan McGregor's Irish,
Yeah,
but he's British.
it's in Glasgow.
Yeah, Scotland.
It's in Scotland. It's
Scotland.
in Glasgow.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. But I love these kind of movies, and this one's edgy as shit. But I can't really talk too much about it just because I don't remember enough about it. But I just remember knowing I just watched a really good movie.
I mean, again, this is about a group of heroin addicts. It is, they're a bunch of unemployed guys. Our main character lives with his parents. And all he really likes to do is hang out with his quote unquote friends and do drugs.
Yeah.
They do a lot of womanizing. They have some really trippy cinematography in this
Well,
in this
that's
movie.
all Danny Boyle in that bit.
For sure. Oh, 100% Danny Boyle.
I need to rewatch this because I don't remember enough of it.
Our guy Ewan, he tries to get away from heroin,
Like the party life.
and lead this kind of useful and fulfilling life. Doesn't really work out. He
He ends up back.
Yeah, big relapse into heroin use, and it is a very interesting movie. It is shot incredibly well. Again,
you know what? Like I'm starting to remember a little bit more, but it's shot a lot like another Danny Boyle movie. It's shot a lot like Slumdog. This is like
like proto Slumdog.
Proto Slumdog. It's shot a lot like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's fantastic. I wish I could say more about it just because I don't remember enough about it. But I mean, it nominated for an Oscar for adapted screenplay. So.
Yeah. It also was one of the first in my memory, one of the first like big Cannes film festival movies.
Yeah. This one and probably another movie around the same like time period. What's it called? The Full Monty.
Yeah.
That one was just a big hit around that same time too. So
it was like, I mean, it was a huge cultural hit in the UK upon its release. It was like the number one grossing film that first weekend that it released in the UK.
I think it gave us Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, it hit the American shores much later in the year. It's a really good movie. It's well written, well shot, well acted. If you like Danny Boyle's type of storytelling, you're going to appreciate this movie. Definitely worth a watch for sure. And it's 93 minutes. It's an easy watch.
Yeah, it's really quick. Yeah.
Please put on your subtitles though.
Please. I mean, yeah, he got Star Wars 3 years after this. So,
yeah.
I mean, this is what catapulted him, which is really cool. Yeah. Nick, that was my number 5. I wish I could have talked more about it. Thank you for covering for me. Was that on your list at all?
No.
Okay.
It was tentatively at one point. It is in my honorable mentions, but it did drop out.
Let me just scratch that off of your list. Okay.
Number 5 for me is my second foray into, I guess, a Quentin Tarantino adjacent film. This stars George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino.
Okay, yeah, I watched this.
And is From Dusk Till Dawn. Great vampire flick. Great bit character actors in it.
Hell yeah.
Uh,
Great
Julia,
opening,
yeah,
like lead up to
yeah,
before the shit hits the fan
yeah.
too.
Uh, like I said, great act. Harvey Keitel, George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino, Juliette Lewis does an amazing job in this film. Selma Hayek, hot as ever in this movie. Uh, of course, Cheech is in it
Dude,
because
Cheech Marin as like multiple
yeah, yeah.
characters is
This is
fantastic.
this is a Robert Rodriguez horror film, action
Yeah.
horror film, and it deals with freaking vampires. It's
Dude,
awesome.
you want to know how George Clooney ended up being in this?
I
Because
do want to know.
Robert and Quentin were having just a conversation, and Quentin's just like kind of fingering through a magazine, and he's like, and he sees a picture of George Clooney, and he's like, you know, George Clooney and I look a lot alike. We could be
Oh God.
brothers. And Robert was like, what?
Excuse me.
But then they got them to be brothers in the movie. But yeah, it was just, it stemmed from Quentin Tarantino's ego just being so large. And he's like, yeah, I'm as pretty as like the most handsome man in the world right
sexiest
now.
man alive at that time. Sure.
I'm comparable to him.
Comparable to that. Listen.
Also, Tom Savini's in this movie as Sex Machine.
I was getting ready to say one of my favorite characters in the entire film is Tom Savini as Sex Machine. Kelly Preston is in it.
Dude, one of my other favorite things is how giant of an ego Fred Williamson had, that he thought the movie, like he plays the big black dude.
Yeah.
He thought he was the star of the movie.
Yes.
Because he considers himself the star. He's like, I have the ideal look, and God damn it, he does.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, I am like the star. Like he went into this movie completely believing
it was.
I mean, good for him.
Yeah. I think my favorite part about this movie, other than the fact that George Clooney gets to fight vampires, is that one of the characters that Cheech plays is named Chet Pussy.
Oh yeah, well, because that's all he's talking about outside of the club. It's all kinds of pussy.
Yeah.
Dirty. No. Yeah. I mean, that's Cheech Marin though, but also I like I mentioned before like the shit hits the fan and they actually get to the titty twister. Whenever they're holding up that convenience store that John Hawkes is the guy behind, is just a great amount of tension built in that little scene.
Yeah.
I wish the movie was a little bit more like that, but the fact that it just turns itself to 11 is fantastic. It just becomes a different movie. Because like Quentin and George and John Hawkes like all kill it in that scene with that random cop.
Absolutely.
So like I love this movie. This is also one of the first movies I watched again whenever this list came up.
I did not know this until researching for the pod, that this was initially the screenplay that Quentin Tarantino wrote for this movie was initially considered to be a part of Tales from the Crypt, and they were going to put it as one of the movies in a prospective trilogy that ended up just being a 2-movie Tales from the Crypt film,
movie.
Movie, Demon Knight and Tales from the Crypt, Bordello of Blood.
Okay.
So this was supposed to be the middle.
This one's a little bit more dark than those other two.
Yeah.
Those two have a little bit more comedy. This one has comedy, but not as much as that. Yeah. Those two.
So I think this is just
I love it.
Fucking fantastic film.
I love this movie.
Like I said, this was the second go around with Quentin Tarantino for me. The first being Pulp Fiction, and then got me into his other works.
I think this is actually probably my first Quentin as well, because I saw this one way before I should have.
No, I saw Pulp Fiction first. I saw this one, and then I got into like Reservoir Dogs, and
I didn't get into Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs until high school.
Gotcha. And then Four Rooms, which is another screenplay by Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah, my number
I
5
love this
film,
pick.
Dusk Till Dawn, a good 100-minute easy watch that's
Easy.
super fun and has a ton of gore and vampires and
Fun violence, very fun violence,
very funny violence,
and then also
especially
Cheech
Sex Machine
Yeah,
with
well,
his
yeah.
gun on his dick.
Cheech Marin gets his ass kicked so much in this movie.
Multiple
I think
times.
by multiple times. Yeah. But yeah, this movie is or actually yeah, it went honestly for me with Quentin. It went this movie and then it went Kill Bill Volume 1.
Oh,
that was my next
good.
introduction to him.
So good. So yeah, number 5 from Dusk Till Dawn. I really thought that was going to be on your list. I marked that off.
It almost did.
For number 4, I teased it in the cold open. You see, Billy is the extreme.
Oh,
it's Twister.
Wait, is it Twister?
Twister's my number 4 film.
That's my number 3.
Yes.
Oh my god, it's so good. It's like I don't remember all the quotes. The only one that really matters to me is I gotta go, we got cows.
We got cows.
That's the best. That's one of the best lines in movie history.
That's another cow. No, I think it's the same one.
Same cow. Bill fucking Paxton, bro.
Yes.
God
rest his soul.
And then also, I mean, Helen Hunt as well. I mean, I can't really take anything away from her as well. She's fantastic. But Bill
had a definite a definite thing for her back in the day. Probably still do, to be honest.
I would probably still say I still do.
This is also during the mountaintop peak of Jamie Gertz in our lives.
Yeah. Well, yeah, right around
this time.
Yeah. Gish and Gertz, if you know, you know. But yeah, this movie's completely stacked too. Before some people even like exploded, but Carrie Elwes, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Alan Ruck, it shows
Rabbit
back
is good.
up.
Rabbit is wise.
I mean, it's a ton of fun.
It is Jan de Bont, doing all the schlocky fun stuff with CGI that 96 brought us. This is produced by not only Michael Crichton, but Steven Spielberg as well, as an executive producer, in fact. Written by Michael Crichton.
Yeah.
It is pure 90s extremism.
Yeah. It's completely, it's a thrill ride. And it's literally, it's terrifying because, I mean, tornadoes are scary. I don't know if
absolutely.
Have you been near one before?
I have.
They're
terrifying.
Like indescribable. It's like a complete fear. And this movie does a really good job with it. And the movie's so good that I'm not that afraid of twisters ruining anything, because no matter what, I still have Twister. And I'm always down to watch Twister. I mean,
oh yeah, absolutely. This was also quite possibly the most 90s soundtrack of all time.
I have no idea.
You have 2 tracks by Van Halen. You have a Red Hot Chili Peppers track. You have a Shania Twain track. You have a Goo Goo Dolls track. You have a Lisa Loeb track. A Katie Lang track. Soul Asylum.
Yeah, tracks.
Rusted Root. Yeah. Tori Amos.
Yep. God, that's so 90s.
But they did bring back.
Is this
Stevie
a VH1 show?
It should be. But yeah. So
I love the movie. I
love Twister. I love Twister so much. And then we get great moments, such as we got cows. Another cow moment. Wow, May, you got a lot of beef. Where and she goes, "Did you see all those cows out there?" No. Oh well. Yeah.
Dude, that breakfast that she cooks them.
I want that breakfast every morning of my
I don't,
life.
I don't think it's a breakfast. I think that's your
I think
daily
I,
intake.
I think that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner all at once.
Looked fantastic though.
Yeah, steak with. Although I do have this question: who has mashed potatoes and gravy for breakfast?
Where are they? Oklahoma? Makes
Oklahoma.
sense. Makes
Yep.
sense. Tracks. All right, Nick.
Twister. By the way, Twister shot on a budget of just north of maybe 90 million, like 92 million. Grossed $500 million at the box office.
It
Excuse me.
deserved more.
It deserved more. And it has become one of those like rewatchable films. Like it'll be on a cable channel,
Yeah.
and you'll like walk into a room and you'll go, "Oh, they're getting ready to send the first Dorothy out. I'll sit down and watch this."
You know, it might just be because it shows up in the movie, it shows up in the trailer for the new movie. But you know what I want to watch? Where I want to watch this movie?
Where? At a drive-in?
Fucking drive-in theater, man.
Yes.
I want to watch this at a drive-in theater
With Glenn
so
Powell.
bad. Yes. Yes. And give me all of them. Daisy Edgar Jones, the guy from Nope, the guy from Kiernan Shipka's in the movie.
Yes.
Dude, I mean, Chilling like if you know, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina was fucking badass. Nobody watched it. I loved it. But I cannot wait for Twisters. I'm very, very excited.
Very excited for it. For sure. Very excited for it.
All right.
Yeah. Wait, what do you got at 4, my friend?
I have a movie you're going to want to talk about because it's Happy Gilmore, bro. It's like it's the best. It's one of the best golf movies. If the greatest game ever played doesn't exist.
If I dressed like that, I'd kick my own ass. Listen,
oh, it hurt, but it feel good.
Yeah, I love Adam Sandler.
Is this not on your list?
It's not.
I don't know you anymore.
I know.
Man. Had we met in '96, we would not be friends now.
I know. Listen,
scratching it off your list, Jesus.
I love Happy Gilmore. I just could not put it over some of these picks.
Over 10 Cup? This is a superior golf movie than
that is
10
debatable.
Cup.
That is debatable.
No, it's that's never once come up in conversation. Like everybody's like that's like a 99% smash list on like if you did a poll, what's the better movie? Happy Gilmore or 10 Cup? And you know what? The 110 Cup would be you.
You're right.
Is that where you want to be in history? Are you going to be on the wrong side of history?
It's not where I want to be. Listen, I will say this.
Okay.
The cast for Happy Gilmore makes me happier than I can express in words.
Oh my god! And then we
Julie Bowen, Adam Sandler, Christopher McDonald, and the incomparable, God rest his soul, Carl Weathers as Chubbs Peterson. In fact, the day he died, I pulled up TikTok, and the first TikTok I had was him as Chubbs in the white suit at the piano, and he lifts up his hand to show that he has it, and the piano keeps playing.
It's so perfect.
Just give it a tappy.
Tap, tap, tap it in. Tap, tap, tappy.
Taparoo. Chubbs Peterson is one of the greatest characters of all time, only overshadowed by Shooter McGavin. I love Christopher McDonald as Shooter McGavin.
There's so many great characters, like Shooter. You have any idea how many times a day
and
on
you
a
can
golf
wait.
course
All right,
across
you can
the
count
United States
on me waiting for you in the parking lot.
Fell on Frankenstein's foot over there. You little son of a bitch. You go home. That's your home. Are you too good for your home? Answer me. Do you have any idea how many times that's been said on a golf course today?
Oh, it's so many. So
I
many.
eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You
You
eat
eat
pieces
pieces
of
of
shit
shit
for
for
breakfast?
No.
This may be one of the most quotable films ever put to film. Um, the fact that Will Sasso also shows up in this movie
Yeah.
as one of the movers that's moving his grandmother out uh, also makes me laugh. You just hit that guy.
So he should have been
Should have
standing
been standing
there.
there.
It's a perfect excuse. No, Nick.
He hit the ball like 500 yards. He should have been standing there.
Nick, the best line in this movie is, "Good news, everybody. We're extending arts and crafts time by 4 hours
4
today.
hours today.
My fingers hurt."
Yeah.
What's that? My fingers hurt. Oh, well, now your back's gonna hurt because you just pulled landscape duty. Anybody else's fingers hurt? I didn't think so.
Warm glasses, shut the hell up.
It's just his delivery. Just
Yes.
my fingers hurt. What's that?
What's that?
Oh, well.
Um,
Oh, it's I might have to put this on today.
okay, listen. I am making an executive
Are
decision.
you removing Tin Cup?
I am removing Tin Cup.
It's the Happy Gilmore's the superior.
And Happy Gilmore is replacing Tin Cup.
You didn't say a
number
single
8.
line from Tin Cup. We just rattled off all of them from Happy Gilmore.
God. Oh.
You know what?
I forgot Robert Smigel is the IRS agent.
Yes. Who's like perverted, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh my god, this movie is perfect.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put this movie on tonight before I go to bed.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Like I was gonna watch a French film that I was gonna put on last night, but like also from '96 called Irma Vep. But fuck it. I'm going to the basics. Happy Gilmore.
I'd also like to give a shout out to Alan as Otto, the homeless man who becomes Happy's caddy.
And like, I had. Do you remember your first Alan Covert? It's a hard thing to remember because nobody remembers Alan Covert.
I mean, my first one is probably Happy Gilmore that I remember. Was he in Billy Madison?
No.
Okay.
But actually, is this before or after? Have you seen Airheads?
That's right. He was a cop in Airheads.
He's like that first cop that either Steve or Adam interacts with. And,
yes.
And whenever I saw, because I'd seen Airheads before I saw this. Whenever I saw this, I was like, "That's the guy from Airheads." That like nobody remembers that, but I do.
Yeah.
I remember.
So top 3 Alan films would be Happy, probably The
Grandma's
Wedding
Boy.
Singer, and Grandma's Boy.
They were cones.
They were cones.
Yeah,
He's got the freaking Thriller jacket.
And like they bring it up too, which is the funniest part. They constantly call him out on what like his like appropriating. Yes. It's fantastic. Like Happy Nick, I'm sorry. I'm happy that you thought correct and put Happy Gilmore above 10.
I will also say this has one of the greatest. Yeah, it has one of the greatest visuals of all time at the end, where it's Chubbs, the crocodile, Lincoln. And Abraham Lincoln in the clouds,
just waving.
Why is Abraham Lincoln there?
Been asking myself that same question for 28 years.
Yeah. Oh God, this movie's so okay. Yeah, I don't even feel bad about replacing Tin Cup with it anymore.
Nick, what's your number 3? Since my number 3 was Twister.
My number 3 is, I hope to God is on your list, because if it's not, Yeah. I hope to God this one's on your list because if it's not, I also don't know you. Um, we're just going to get right into a quintessential Wes Craven film,
Okay, wow, you have it this
Scream.
low. Okay, wow. Okay,
Uh, it's only because I'm going with the two play for 2-1.
you have it this low. Okay, this is my number one. Um,
Sure.
Understandably, because this is, in my opinion, one of the few perfect horror films of all time.
Um,
It's few and
ooh,
far
man.
between. This is one of them.
I think this is number 3 on my list.
This is, I think, either 3 or 2 for me. The Thing's number one. It's number 3. It's The Thing,
Thing,
Halloween,
Halloween,
Scream.
Scream. Yep. Okay, we're on the same page.
Yeah. Uh, uh, but yeah, Scream is it's a perfect horror movie. It's a perfect movie. You have the great one of the greatest final girls of all time with the greatest final
Nev
team
Campbell as Sydney.
with the greatest final team of all time. I mean, with Courtney Cox and
David
David
Arquette.
Arquette. It's like it's Sydney, uh Dewey, and oh my god, I can't remember her name. She's a reporter. Why
Gail?
can't Gail? Thank you.
Okay.
It's Sydney, Dewey, and Gail. Gail Weathers.
Yeah.
Dale.
Can
Yeah.
can we also say that Wes Craven pulled off one of the best bait and switches of all
Yes.
time with this?
The opening scene.
Drew Barrymore is on the cover of the freaking poster.
Yeah.
Her name is on the marquee.
Yeah.
And she doesn't make it through 15 minutes of this movie.
Nope. And it's like it's the best opening of a horror movie ever.
Oh,
it's the best.
God. Yeah.
And then the second one is Ghost Ship, which is a huge dip down as far as like
Big
movie wise. But man, if that opening scene isn't fantastic, but man, this movie is incredible. I mean, and then
You have
the
two of the best villains
the
in
best
horror movie.
Oh my god! And they're so much better even out of costume than they. I mean, whenever you get them,
yeah.
Oh,
Skeet and Matthew Lillard, Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard, their dynamic in this movie in the third act, is unparalleled in horror.
Yeah, Billy and Stu are like how chaotic Billy is because Billy just wants revenge, and how influential and how in love with Billy Stu is.
Stu is absolutely in love with Billy,
and it's incredible. And just like the story that you go on, just because especially with Nev, who carries the weight of the movie so
perfectly.
And the series as a whole is in general, but man, it's incredible. It's like you even get you get the Fonz in this movie, man.
Henry Winkler.
Henry Winkler is fantastic, and like and also Wes Craven does show up in the movie. Tatum, Rose McGowan is fantastic.
Freddy, Wes Craven is Freddy the janitor.
Rose McGowan's fantastic in the movie as well, because she's kind of the perfect like best friend in a horror movie. I don't think anybody else compares to her as far as the best friend in a horror.
Liev Schreiber.
Yeah, Liev is as Cotton Weary, man, like one of the greatest names in horror. Cotton Weary. Not even like has no impact on the series as a whole as far as being a villain.
Zero impact.
One of the greatest names I've ever heard in my entire life.
Jamie Kennedy as Randy Meeks. This is so obviously peak of his powers. Never got better for him after this.
It never did. But it's okay because like
okay.
I think Jamie Kennedy's doing fine. But man, him as Randy Meeks is like he has like it's a formula, a very simple formula.
The rules of horror.
Yes,
the rules of horror.
Literally, he mapped out all of horror in a perfect scene throughout multiple parts of the movie.
Yep.
and then just like literally everybody just reacting off of him, like especially Matthew Lillard, how he bounces off of Jimmy Kennedy is so great as well. He's just like the perfect rubber ball, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You got to give it up to Wes Craven finding a second life with this anthology series.
Yeah.
You know,
It's his best.
obviously he's very well known.
It's better than Nightmare. The first Nightmare is great, but it's better than Nightmare.
As an anthology, I completely agree. I completely agree.
As a standalone first Nightmare versus Scream, I'd take Scream.
I take Scream. Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I would put it's like Scream, and then I think the original Nightmare is like after that, like from Wes Craven films.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably put Scream 3, maybe.
I hate Scream 3.
I gotta think about it. I gotta rewatch them. They're all really
Scream
good.
2 is better than you remember, especially whenever you get to the end, because Timothy Olyphant and, oh my God, Laurie Metcalf. Because
I had forgotten about Laurie Metcalf.
Because she's also just one of those great actors.
Yeah.
Man, whenever you let Laurie Metcalf, it's kind of like a Joan Cusack for me.
Yeah.
They have just like, I think Laurie's a little bit better than Joan, but just like they kind of have that same feeling for me. Just like I can't, like, as soon as they're on screen, I can't wait for whatever they have to say.
Yeah, no, Scream is freaking fantastic. I love it.
What's your number 2? Or let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, let's go. Nick, hey, sorry about that. That was weird, wasn't it?
Oh God.
I wonder what some of those ads said.
Yeah, they were probably Spanish.
Erectile dysfunction.
Yes.
Spanish erectile dysfunction.
Spanish erectile dysfunction. So, what was your number? Did we give your number 3?
Twister.
My
number 1 is Scream.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I'll give my number 2 then. This starts my 2-play of Tom Cruise films. Okay. Tom Cruise had a very big 96.
I know one of them.
Number 2 is a role that he is still playing to this day.
I know this one.
Ethan Hunt. It is the original movie Mission Impossible.
You know, I like the movie. I like it a lot more now that I like. It goes like the new series ever since after 3, and then it goes to 1 as far as like order. Gotcha. But 1's pretty good. I
mean, this is a Brian De Palma film. This is crazy to think that Brian De Palma did Mission Impossible.
Yeah, I mean, let me look at the rest of Brian De Palma's stuff.
Untouchable, Scarface, Dress to Kill, Carrie.
Oh, no, Carrie. I've watched that one.
Yeah. Carlito's Way.
I've watched Carrie.
Yeah. He's a well-known commodity, is all I'm saying.
I know. I know the name more than anything.
No, 96 is Mission Impossible. It
paved the way.
It set us up for what we got in 4, 5, 6, and now 7.
Yes.
You know, obviously you don't get there without the first one.
No.
But this has iconic scenes in it. It's got, you know, the getting the knock list out of CIA headquarters where he's on the freaking rope in the middle of the room,
where you can't change the temperature of the room. You can't, like, no impact of anything. Like, whenever he starts sweating is like the most tense part of the entire movie. It's incredible.
We get an evil John Voight, which little did we know was his real life persona.
But more importantly, we get an evil Jane Reno. And I love an evil Jean Reno.
Yeah. So. We get Ving Rhames for the first time in the series, obviously. A stalwart throughout the rest of the series so far as Luther.
I think only didn't make it into one of the movies so far.
He was not in 2. He has been in the rest.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Ving Rhames. Get anything to get Ving Rhames in a movie. I don't care. Yeah. He's just the guy in the chair now.
Yeah, he is the guy in the chair. You're right. Henry, I believe it's Czerny is how you pronounce
Yeah,
his name. He's very much a that
Kittredge.
guy
Yeah,
as Kittredge.
who most recently showed back up again.
Showed back up for the first time since the first film. It was the third highest grossing film of the year of 1996. Uh, Ethan Hunt is just an absolutely fantastic character.
One of the greatest action characters of all time.
And Tom Cruise is arguably the best cinematic runner of all time.
I don't think it's even arguable at this point. I think it's factual.
Sir, are you forgetting about a gentleman named Robert Patrick?
That was one movie.
No, apparently he is just like a
Well,
they had to slow the or they had to tell him to slow down. Drew.
I know.
He was
I'm
catching
aware.
up
I'm aware.
with
But
vehicles.
I'm not taking anything away from Robert Patrick because I love Robert Patrick. He's one of the greatest. He's the T-1000. He's one of the greatest. I watched him on Scorpion. Okay.
Deep cut.
I love Robert Patrick. He's part of a biker gang that are good people. He's genuinely a good person. I fucking love Robert Patrick. I'm not taking anything away from Robert Patrick.
He's also Peacemaker's dad.
But he plays it so well because he knows that he's bad.
Yeah.
But no, Tom Cruise is the greatest runner of all time, man.
No, you're right. You're right.
They did an entire behind the scenes of just him running in, I want to say not Dead Reckoning, but was Fallout, with like one of the 5 big set pieces was him running.
And just running.
Which I was down with.
Yeah.
Just running over top of the building, but just that tracking shot. Fantastic. Yeah, I love Mission Impossible. It's just this one doesn't hold a huge place in my heart just because the other one, I like the other one so much better.
Oh, I get it.
And also they downed my boy Emilio. This is the reason why he couldn't be in D3 The Mighty Ducks. They kill him in the first scene of this, and then he's that method.
I'm sorry.
It's 93. I mean, as far as Emilio Estevez was concerned, Gordon Bombay also died in 1996. Because he was splitting time as a lawyer for the of the D3 Mighty Ducks.
God.
And you know what? Like that's why he couldn't coach them, because he was splitting his time also as a secret agent. Because you know what? He couldn't play hockey anymore.
The Impossible Mission Force.
He couldn't play hockey anymore for the Minnesota Waves. Yeah. I'm deep cutting like a motherfucker here, okay?
Can we also say that the Mission Impossible theme is one of the great themes of movie history?
Hall Academy, sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, that is my number 2 film.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I had to get that off my chest.
Is it just down to my number 1 film?
No, we got my number 2.
Okay, let's hear what your number 2 is.
Oh man, it's one of the 7 stories of all time.
Romeo and Juliet.
It sure fucking is, man. Yeah. It's not just
Romeo plus Juliet. Excuse me.
It's Baz Luhrmann's Romeo plus Juliet.
Damn you, Baz Luhrmann.
Dude, come on. This movie also has John Leguizamo. This movie has Paul Rudd's in this as Prince. Dude, yeah, John Leguizamo's Tybalt. Harold Perrineau is Mercutio, and my God, he has like the best speech in the entire, like obviously in the play, but also in the entire movie. Peter Postlethwaite is in this movie. Paul Sorvino, Brian Dennehy. Oh, this is
96.
90s.
Apparently, a very
this is 90s
big year
cocaine.
for Jamie Kennedy.
This is 90s cocaine at its peak. Okay. It was
Jamie
on
Kennedy
the screen.
Is also there, by the way.
It wasn't Vaseline that was on the screen. It was cocaine on this. Okay. This movie is fantastic. I love this movie so much. I understand that I am overhyping this movie because it's not.
You're not.
Good. It's not as great as I'm saying it is, but it
was a big deal. Like
it's what got me into Shakespeare. It was I had a teacher in high school. I remember her very specifically. Her name was Mrs. Cerny. And we were watching that controversial version of Romeo and Juliet that the girl who is underage gets naked in. who plays Juliet. She was like 16. It's we know that now. But my teacher, who whenever we would have to, like, we were reading Romeo and Juliet together as a class, and she noticed I really like loved it. I was not just this, but we were kind of going over Shakespeare and some of the stuff that he talks about and how he talks about it. And she's like, "There's this movie that I don't know if you've watched, but it was this one." And she's like, "I think you would like this." So I went to Blockbuster, and my God, this is like, this movie kind of changed me a little bit, because
No, this was
I
a big deal.
realized
This was Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes, man.
it's because I understood everything that they were saying in the movie. And this is like 2003 whenever I first watched it. I understood everything that they were saying and talking about, and it just made sense. And even though like this movie is spoken word for word from the script, from the the actual Romeo and Juliet script, and it made sense. And the fact that it worked in a time in a more modern era, and I understood it all, just made me like love it that much more. I don't know why. That's why this movie just means a lot to me, more than it is a fantastic movie. But genuinely, it's just a beautiful love story that I love to watch, because it's also just visually gorgeous.
It's a beautifully done film, a great modern take on a classic story. You know, instead of rival kingdoms, you have rival business empires. Instead of swords, you have guns.
And they were treated exactly the same too, and it was
Yep.
beautiful.
But it is a gorgeous retelling of a classic story, and no, I think it's understandable that it's in your top 10.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very me movie.
Sure.
The one time I got to be in a kind of a small production of this, I played Benvolio, so I didn't have very much to do, but I was still happy to be part of the crew. But yeah, this
My only problem with it, they
yes.
felt the need to put William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet on it.
I mean, it's giving credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
I mean, but no, it's also completely obnoxious, because it's also Romeo plus Juliet.
Yes.
But it's very much me. Like, if you were to like picture like love struck me just wanting to find love in high school, this was like what was in my head. And then whenever Nick and Nora's Infinite playlist came out, it somehow switched to that, and I've kind of been on that for a while. So that's just my
Your journey.
yeah. I mean, as far as like, because this is a romance, and Nick and Nora is also kind of a romance, kind of like, it's not like Romeo and Juliet, but there's similarities. But yeah, my aesthetic became more
Sure.
Nick and Nora. All right, Nick, I'm excited to find out what your number one is, because you said it's a Tom Cruise, and I don't know another Tom Cruise movie.
Drew, did you know that the human head weighs 8 pounds?
Oh, I forgot about this. I haven't watched this movie since.
Drew,
then.
did you know that dogs and bees can smell fear? Drew, I want you to do.
Hello, man.
I want you to do me one thing. I want you to show me the money. That's right, folks.
No, I would, but I'm not going to.
Jerry Maguire, number one.
I doubt that got picked up.
It did not.
No, it's a fantastic movie. I mean, it's a romance.
Written and directed by Cameron Crowe.
I always forget that.
It is a straight up bromance.
Hey, Kelly Preston shows up again.
Yep, Kelly Preston shows up again. Jerry O'Connell is in this film. But what you're coming to see is a real love story between Tom Cruise and Cuba Gooding Jr.
You know, the agent of a Cardinals wide receiver.
Yes, of course. No, but seriously, this movie, although yes, a key component of it is Renee Zellweger
Yes.
going with Tom Cruise and their love flourishing and everything
And
like
she's a
that.
single mother who he
Yes.
has to kind of get in with the kid as well.
The real center of this movie is how Tom Cruise, how Jerry Maguire and Cuba Gooding Jr. change each other. That's like the central. Rod Tidwell is a complete dickbag.
Andre Rison.
Rod Tidwell is a complete dickbag for 2/3 of this movie. But like,
And then
you see the growth between of them and between them, and it it's great. You also get a solid performance. This is before I knew she was going to freaking take over the world and be brilliant. You get Bonnie Hunt, Jay Moore, Donald Logue is in it because why not? It's got some football players in it playing themselves. But yeah, it is a story about relationships is what this is really about. It just is to talk about football as well, which is fun. We also get to learn that apparently Cuba Gooding Jr. likes to air dry. He doesn't believe in towels. Yeah,
you're gonna have to remind me of all this. I unfortunately do not remember enough. I do know that that Cuba won the Oscar for this, which is pretty cool. I mean, he does give a hell of a performance in the movie. So I mean, shouldn't be surprised. But I mean,
the scene at the end where he makes that catch and he's down, and they think he's just out. Like, I mean, he would not have cleared concussion protocol in the modern day NFL. Let's just state that for the record.
But let's thank God it's 1996 and they didn't care about concussion protocols.
CTE, what's that?
Cloud fog?
Yeah.
Never heard of it. Brain fog?
Yeah.
Cloud fog?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell you were talking about, but
brain fog.
Yeah, you apparently had brain fog. I love that the Cardinals are playing your Dallas Cowboys in that Monday Night Football game as well.
It's all right. Whatever. Dude, hey, if we've learned anything, I'm probably the most sane Cowboys fan on the face of the earth because I don't care, unfortunately. Love them; they're my favorite team. I have a Leighton Vander Esch jersey, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
You're gonna call me not a Cowboys? You did not call me a Cowboys fan.
Yeah. But yeah,
Leighton Vander Esch.
I think Tom Cruise puts on a very interesting performance in this movie. It's not your typical Tom Cruise movie, for one. There is a running scene. But there's no real action. He is emoting as he.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm just go ahead, please.
He just emotes very well in this movie, and it all comes to the forefront in that final, basically showdown with Renee Zellweger. He busts in during this women's support group and expresses his undying love for her, and that is where we get the "You had me at hello" scene, which is
a great line.
And no, it's a great movie. I love this movie. I have watched it 100 times.
Wow. I did not know you were this big of I will revisit this movie because you like it this much. I will revisit this movie for you.
It fills me with joy. It's a man's journey to understand the important things in life is what this is about. And that's why the relationships are at the center of it. Because I mean, he was a sports agent at like the biggest freaking sports management conglomerate in the world, basically.
Yeah.
And he leaves and he has one client. Yeah.
This just wasn't my Cameron Crowe movie, and because it's Aloha. I'm kidding.
You bastard.
It's his last director. It's of course it's Almost Famous. Almost Famous is his best movie of all time. Um, Closely followed by We Bought a Zoo. No, or Fast Times at Ridgemont High, or
He only wrote that. If we're talking about
I was trying to
directing,
I was trying to go from good to bad to
yeah.
good to bad to good to bad.
I love Say Anything. So I know you're not a John Cusack man,
I'm not. I don't know why.
but
Like, I guess I just gravitated to Joan too much.
yeah, it's fair.
I'm a weird guy, man.
Yeah. You're a weird guy, Ace.
I help you stay out of my personal business.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sorry, Nick. You want to go through your list?
Sure.
Run it down.
10, Space Jam. 9, The Frighteners. 8, Happy Gilmore. That's right. Officially
Thank
replaced
you.
on the list. 7, Multiplicity. 6, That Thing You Do. From Dusk Till Dawn comes in at 5. Twister at 4. Number 3 is Scream. Mission Impossible is number 2. And my number 1 film of 1996 is Show Me the Money, Jerry Maguire.
And my number my number 10 is Mars Attacks. My number 9 was D3, The Mighty Ducks. My number 8 was Fargo. My number 7 was Independence Day. Number 6 was The Frighteners. 5 was Trainspotting. 4 was Happy Gilmore. 3 was Twister. 2 was Romeo and Juliet. And number 1 is the easiest number 1 I've had in a while. Scream. Like, it was 0 question. Scream. I whenever we pulled up 96, I was like, oh, Scream.
Yeah. No, I knew that was going to be your number 1.
Of course. But yeah,
There was no doubt in my mind.
Nick, have you pulled up a new year for us?
Let me get that for you real quick.
Perfect.
Just real quick while I'm looking at that, I do want to go over a couple films that I found to be so bad they're good. That would be, first and foremost, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Jingle All the Way. That's right, folks. It's so bad. It's actually pretty good. And then the movie starring Pauly Shore, Biodome. Yes.
Oh,
Jingle All the Way and Biodome as a couple of so bad they're good films.
Dunstan Checks In. Was that brought up yet?
I had not brought that up.
Why was that not the first honorable mention?
Because Jingle All the Way was a so bad they're good film.
I think that's just so great. It's great. That was like the Christmas movie I think I
Turbo
watched
Man.
the most. I think I watched that Christmas movie probably the most as a kid. Hold up, I completely forgot honorable mentions. Man, I must seem insane because I have so many just papers around my room just because I constantly write down ideas. I'm like
You're basically Charlie from It's Always Sunny.
No, I'm a little bit more organized than that. I just have
Carol.
There is no Pepe Sylvia. There is nobody works in this building.
This place is a goddamn ghost town.
That's Charlie work is so perfect that my go-to Charlie is that entire episode. And then also what's Flowers for Charlie.
Oh, Flowers for Charlie is so damn good.
Insane. We have not done that yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going over a little bit of honorable mentions real quick. We did not talk about The Rock, which I think is... Oh, I hate you.
I'm not an action guy. You know this. I'm not an action guy.
The Rock, basically, it's a James Bond film, guys. Just deal with it. Okay. The Birdcage.
Yes, I wanted to bring it up so bad, but yeah, Birdcage didn't make my list.
Robin Williams, Nathan Lane,
Hank Azaria,
Gene Hackman.
Hank Azaria, man, he's so good. He's the most flamboyant in the movie, though. Matilda, banger. I mean,
banger of a film.
Directed by Danny DeVito. Mm-hmm. Ended up taking in Mara Wilson because of the movie for a while. Incredible. I mean, Primal Fear. I have not watched it.
Very good.
Time to Kill.
Matthew
I
McConaughey, Samuel L. Jackson, Sandra Bullock.
it was on the list. Fear, I still need to watch that. I need to watch Sling Blade. I just once again, keep in mind, 96, nothing just looked great to me, unfortunately.
Muppet Treasure Island.
Oh, trust me, I had it circled as a possible for you.
Yeah.
First Wives Club, unrated, like
Underrated.
no underrated banger. Also
Beavis
the
and
end scene's
Butthead.
perfect.
Beavis and Butthead Do America came out in 96.
I also had that circled down for you. Also had Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie.
Listen, I wanted to put that on my list, but then I realized that I would do nothing but quote the entire movie the entire way through, and we'd be sitting here for 4 hours.
Because Nick, you and I did that for an entire day back home.
We did.
Like we watched it early in the day. I came over to your apartment, your duplex at the time, like way earlier than I should have, probably unannounced, and we just watched Mystery Science Theater 3000. Because I'm a bougie bitch. I really want to watch Citizen Ruth, which is an abortion movie about a paint sniffer, Laura Dern. In the movie,
Always love Laura Dern.
I love her.
I'll give you a good one. Down Periscope.
Like underwater. It's fantastic. I wanted to watch Irma Vep, which is once again it's a French movie, so I'm a little weird. There's also Basquiat, which is about the painter, which I also really wanted to watch.
How about The Long Kiss Goodnight, starring Gina Davis and Samuel L. Jackson?
I do need to watch that because I've actually recently been hearing about that. Kazam came out this year.
Yeah, I got that under So Bad It's Bad.
I watched it so many times. Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco.
Listen, the first one got me enough, okay?
Ooh. First Kid.
Might as well just put Lost in Time up there.
Dude, you know what movie I really loved? But
or The Land Before Time, excuse me.
A movie that I couldn't find streaming anywhere.
What's
it's
that?
so bad that it's also bad, but I love it. Carpool.
So bad. A few more so bad they're bad. Striptease, awful movie. Don't watch it. A Very Brady sequel. Don't watch it. And High School High, starring John Lovett. Very bad.
Okay.
You could also put Don't Be a Menace.
While sipping, while drinking Kool-Aid, while drinking juice in the hood.
Yes.
Sorry. I watched a couple other new movies that I'd never watched before. Didn't really like Swingers.
Swingers is what it is.
Kingpin is an adequate Farrelly Brother movie.
It's the only thing that saves Kingpin is Bill Murray.
I don't even think so. I don't really like him that much in the movie. And he's not in the movie enough. He's not in the movie enough for me.
Yeah.
A Coen Brothers movie that I tried not Coen. Not Coen. Who is the other guy? Waiting for Guffman.
Why
can't I think of that?
Christopher Guest?
Yeah, Christopher Guest. Didn't love it. Did love parts of the movie. Didn't love the movie. Tried real hard. I gave that one a shot just because I like a lot of Christopher Guest stuff.
Yeah.
You mentioned Multiplicity. It was on your list. Bulletproof with Adam Sandler and
Damon Wayans. Yeah.
You mentioned Biodome. I wanted to rewatch Bottle Rocket, but it wasn't streaming anywhere.
The Cable Guy.
I watched it. Not as bad as we all thought.
Not as bad as it was. It was
still a little off. 101 Dalmatians is good. James and the Giant Peach was really good.
Really good. I enjoyed the movie Jack, even though
I was just about to bring it up. Francis Ford Coppola too.
Yeah. Even though Bill Cosby is in that movie, and
that kind of brings it down a little bit now.
Brings it down just a little bit.
It brought it way up. It brought it way up at the time.
Yeah. It also had, I believe, if my memory serves me correct, Diane Lane in it.
Yes, as his mom.
As his mom, which
was confusing.
Yes, so confusing.
I was so in love with Diane Lane and Jack.
Yes. Of all the time, I'm in love with Diane Lane all the time.
Yeah, but specifically in Jack because this was was the movie I knew her from.
Yeah.
But yeah, I 96, not a bad year. It's just I wasn't excited about it.
I do enjoy the movies that we got to talk about, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
And again,
absolutely.
we got Twister and Scream, like, and then I'm pretty sure we riffed for about 30 minutes on Happy Gilmore.
I mean,
So
understandable.
yeah. So
Nick, do you want to let the people know what we are going to be what year we're going to be going through next?
folks, we're gonna come forward in time by about 20 years, 22 years, and we're gonna watch movies from 2018. We will probably do that in 2 weeks. Next week we will do our Oscar show and talk about the Oscars. But in 2 weeks' time, we will talk about the movies of 1998 or of 2018. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's this was the second to last year before the big bubble of bad things happening.
Yeah,
So we still have a
it was such a
lot of
simpler time.
yeah, we have a lot of great movies on here. I mean, some movies that I will have to watch for the first time. One for the biggest tryhard I've ever seen in my entire life, Mr. Bradley Cooper. I have to finally watch his stupid fucking movie. The biggest tryhard in the
It's
goddamn
so
world.
good though. That movie,
He's the biggest. He
the
wants it.
movie,
He wants it too much.
the movie you were talking about is so fucking good though.
He wants it too much.
Okay.
He wants it too much. Have you,
Okay.
Nick? Have you seen some of the interviews he's had recently?
No, some of those interviews were pretty bad.
What is he doing?
I don't know. I do not know.
But you know what? I'm excited. Like, yeah, we were gonna have to take like 2 weeks anyway because there's a couple movies in here I definitely need to rewatch. A couple and need to watch. There's a Lars von Trier movie that I guess I finally need to watch. That I've been avoiding, but there's gonna be some good stuff. There's gonna be some real shit. But there's gonna be some good stuff. So like I can't.
What
wait.
are you saying that Skyscraper's not going to be on your top 10?
Now I was saying that Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is going to be as low as possible.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's a fucking ABBA movie in this year. So you know what? Like might as well just make
Give
a
and
place
take,
for that in
man.
the top five. Might as well
Give
give
and
it a
take.
place in the top five there.
All right, Drew, where can they find you, sir?
You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and X at AndrewLZCom. You can even find me on nothing else, I guess. There was another thing that I started doing, but I can't remember it. And then you can find me on Letterboxd at just Andrew LZ. You can find all the movies that I've been watching. I write a small review or what I thought about the movie lately. My last four watched are Dark Harvest. It's okay, really good gore in the movie, but like the story just feels really off. And then Dune, House, and then Dune 2, which I like Letterboxd.
You can find me on Twitter, or the place
X.
formerly known as Twitter, at Superman's underscore Papa. You can find me on Instagram at in underscore Irvin23, and you can find the show at was underscore the podcast on Twitter.
Yeah. And yeah. Also, it's on YouTube as well. You can find the show completely on YouTube with minimal graphics. But it's a good time. I cannot wait to talk to you again because I missed you last week. I missed you the entire time.
Yeah.
But I did specifically miss you last week.
Well, let's make sure we watch those Oscars on Sunday, and we get to talk about those next Thursday.
Perfect. Nick, I love you.
Love you too.
See you next Thursday, though.
Get vaccinated.
Still, you should still be.